June 25th, 2025. Can we have a roll call?
Commissioner Anna Hamilton,
Here.
Commissioner Justin Green,
Here.
Commissioner Anna Hansen,
Present.
Commissioner Camilla Bustamante,
Present.
and Chair Hank Hughes.
Present.
Thank you.
And can we approve the agenda? Are there any changes to the agenda?
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the agenda as presented.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, agenda is approved. CDBG program overview. Go ahead, Max Hendren.
Thank you, Chairman Hughes and County Commissioners. Thank you for providing this time to conduct a Community Development Block Grant, a CDBG public hearing. I am Max. I have several jobs for the county as a capital planning team leader in the Growth Management Department. One of my jobs is an administrative project manager for the county's Community Development Block Grant. And these funds helped build a new Greater Glorieta Regional Well. The purpose of this meeting is to provide public participation and information on the CDBG program. The New Mexico Department of Finance and Administration's Local Government Division and the Community Development Council requires mandatory public hearings, and this special meeting has a dual purpose. First, to conduct a public hearing because the Greater Glorieta Regional Well is successfully completed and public participation is part of the closeout process. And then second, this meeting counts as a pre-selection meeting in anticipation of 2025 CDBG funds. On a note, CDBG is typically a very competitive funding source, but in 2023, the CDBG funding cycle, the state was awarded $1.23 million from HUD, and the Community Development Council awarded all 7 successful applications, totaling about $5.9 million. So after the allocations for the planning and economic development set-asides were made, the remaining funds were allocated by the CDC for supplemental funds of the 69 remaining New Mexico CDBG projects. And well, those are projects that needed more funds. So they had a supplemental funding application process where 23 supplemental funding applications were submitted. 10 awards were made totaling about $5.8 million. So then 100% of the 2023 CDBG allocations were made. But because of the overwhelming applications that were submitted and the demand for supplemental funding, the CDC earmarked HUD's 2024 CDBG funding for more supplemental funds. So at this time, neither the county nor the Board of County Commissioners have determined a project to pursue for CDBG. The state does estimate that there'll be about $11 million in 2025 CDBG funding cycle. The CDBG funding cycle calendar has not been made available, but I anticipate that CDBG applications for the 2025 funding cycle will be awarded around September of 2025. So during this meeting, information about the CDBG funding program, the eligible applications, the types of projects that can be applied for will be provided. Please be sure to sign in. There's a sign-in sheet in the front because the documentation is included in the closeout material, and it'll also be provided for any future CDBG funding. So the New Mexico Administrative Housing and Community Development Act of 1974, the statute of the program objectives. A, or elimination of slum and blight. Conditions pose a serious and immediate threat to the health, but I'm going to spend a little bit more time with the state. And therefore, the New Mexico CDBG program is the most urban government entity, % of its population residing in urban area. The state of community development needs because existing conditions pose a statement from our governor or our state agency, immediate threat to the health and welfare of the community. An activity qualifies if the project is at least 51% or higher in census data, and a HUD formula or illustration is a state's funding agency for the CDBG program. DFA and HUD, the ACS LMI data of 54% met the national objective for CDBG. These ACS LMI is under 51%. They don't automatically qualify. That's not to say they qualify. So if the project, for a survey, to conduct a survey, if the project's direct beneficiaries qualify for LMI, could be conducted. These are the citizens that would prime on that street would be surveyed because they would directly benefit from that project. Now, if a project is improvements, Jerry's, surveys can be conducted going door to door, by telephone, by mail in survey, but door to door determine an LMI percentage. If that percentage is 51% or higher, and the state DFA approved, also, LMI activities can serve limited clientele. If the project house, refuge, etc., these clientele, these limitations, sanitary districts, public nonprofit groups, they cannot apply directly for assistance, but they can be involved in the execution of an approved CDBG project if an eligible applicant chooses to operate the program with and through them. Also, Indian pueblos and tribes, they receive CDBG funding direct from HUD and can apply through the HUD Office of Native American Programs in Albuquerque. Water and sewer systems, stormwaters, and there's an average of 65,000 rehab or repair activities, and that is part of the 2016 Santa Fe County roof rehabilitation that I'll give you a little bit more information at the end of the project, or the presentation. Also, CDBG funds can be used for economic development projects, which will be utilized mainly to create or retain jobs for low and moderate income persons. Economic development projects are used to meet urgent needs or to create or retain business owned by community residents. There is a leverage cash match ratio of 1 private dollar for each CDBG dollar. And then the emergency category that provides funding for emergency projects that address life-threatening situations resulting from disasters or threats to health and safety. The governor or an appropriate state agency must concur that it is an emergency with written verification, and the community must also prove that they don't have the resources to alleviate that emergency. Planning grants have a maximum of $50,000. Communities must have a current comprehensive plan within the last 5 years with required elements such as land use, housing, transportation, infrastructure, economic development, and water assessment. If a comp plan is current, then the community can apply for an assessment management plan, data gathering, base mapping, aerial photography, codification of ordinances, and other planning processes or studies. There is an annual CDBG allocation of 10% marked for Colonias. The projects have to be used to deal with lack of potable water supply, lack of adequate sewage system, lack of decent, safe, and sanitary housing, and the community has to have been in existence as a Colonias prior to November of 1990. So there are ineligible activities that CDBG will not fund. For instance, the construction or rehabilitations of buildings used to conduct business, government business, that is, such as city halls or county courthouses, unless the funds are going to be used for ADA improvements. Also, general operation maintenance expenses associated with public facilities or services are ineligible. Income maintenance, ineligible. Housing allowance payments and mortgage subsidies, those are examples of ineligible activities. The CDBG also has other program requirements. For instance, applicants must conduct a minimum of 2 public hearings, a pre-project selection and a post-project selection. In addition, public participation is required to close out a successfully completed project. And 4 public hearings will provide the maximum points in an application's project rating and ranking process. County's capital planning process will be approved at a Board of County Commissioners regularly scheduled meeting, and the project will be included in the county's infrastructure capital improvement plan. And, I recommend anybody submit a CDBG project request form. That's Exhibit B. That's part of your package material, and there's some hard copies in the back. But all applications must address one of the national objectives to benefit low to moderate income persons or meet an urgent or life-threatening community development. Those are the national objectives that are allowed in the state of New Mexico. We can apply up to $750,000 with a certified engineered stamped cost estimate, or $500,000 without a certified engineer cost estimate. There are cash match requirements. Rural communities must provide a minimum of 5% cash match. Non-rural communities must provide a 10% cash match. The applications will be scored by rating certain criteria like description and need, benefits to LMI, leveraging, citizen participation, planning, feasibility and readiness, and cost benefit. The New Mexico Community Development Council is responsible for allocating grants under the NMAC 2.110.2, the Small City CDBG program. These council members are appointed by the governor and include representatives from the governor's office, the New Mexico Environment Department, Department of Health, Department of Finance and Administration, and other representatives are from the state's 6 regional planning districts, our Council of Governments. And we are represented in District 2, that's associated with the North Central New Mexico Economic Development District, and Wayne Songchar is our representative from Las Vegas. So these are the main points of the Community Development Block Grant. I'm going to take a few minutes to update you on the current project and the process of the closeout, and provide a little bit of information on previous CDBG projects that have impacted the county's communities. The current CDBG project is the Greater Glorieta Regional Well. In 2019, the county secured $750,000 of CDBG funds for this project. In addition, an unprecedented opportunity was presented to the county to request additional CDBG CV funds as a result of the COVID pandemic, the country shutting down, and the rising costs of construction due to supply chain issues. HUD provided additional funds to the DFA. The county requested and was awarded in CDBG funds. In collaboration with the Greater Glorieta Community Regional Mutual Domestic Water Consumers and Sewer Works Association, we leveraged and secured $2.4 million to construct a new well, ensuring a sustainable water supply. And the project is successfully completed. We're in the process of closing it out. Other past CDBG funded projects, the Santa Fe County Roof Rehabilitation Project. In 2016, the county was awarded $500,000 to re-roof 39 units located in the Valle de Esperanza Santa Cruz housing site and 12 units at the Camino de Jacobo site. The project helped 101 LMI beneficiaries and was successfully completed within 24 months. Other CDBG funded projects include the Glorieta Mutual Domestic Water Line Phase 1, the La Familia Medical Center, and the Nancy Rodriguez Center. The purpose of this meeting was to provide CDBG information and gather information from the Santa Fe County community regarding potential projects. Community members, please keep in mind the parameters of the CDBG program in terms of eligibility and the other required elements. At this time, the county has not determined a CDBG project to pursue. And I yield to Chairman Hughes, the commissioners, and the public for questions, as well as receive any input for potential project ideas.
Thank you. Any questions from the board? Well, then we can move to the public hearing. Anybody in the public care to comment on this application for CDBG? Okay, seeing no public, we'll close the public hearing. Mr. Green?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Max. Appreciate the explanation of this program. We skipped a year, so even though this is my second run around the world or around the solar system in this seat, I missed it last year, so it's good to catch up on this. The question I have is about a project potential in the Chimayo area. We have the old Head Start building that is up there, and I would hope that we could work on seeing if that is an eligible project to rehabilitate that building and turn it into a community center, especially given that we are in the discussion of potentially giving up Santa Fe County's senior and community center at the Benny Chavez Center, if that comes to fruition as a post office. And so just thinking ahead, if we have a few months to work on this, that I would hope that we could look at that project together and see if that is an eligible project.
Yeah, Chairman Hughes and Commissioner Green, thank you for that project idea. Sounds like a project that we could definitely try to vet through the capital planning process.
Great, thank you.
Mr. Hamilton?
I actually don't have a recommended project at this time. Might have a couple of ideas, but nothing that's quite ready for prime time. But I really wanted to comment, having worked so closely with Max on this and on this project, that having the availability of CDBG grants is so beneficial to us, to have grant money to be able to further some projects, beyond what we can do with direct spending. But it is so difficult, and I really wanted to. CDBG has so many requirements, and it they really, it's grant money. There's no interest, but they really make you pay, and it takes some real specialty to be able to manage this through the county and with the communities. And I wanted to commend Max for her ability to do it and what it's taken to do this, because it provides a service to the communities that, many of that they often need. The mutual domestics, this, sewage treatment, even, and then for the county as well. And it is, it takes a lot to do it. So thank you for doing that. And anybody who wants to bring her chocolate, that scares away the dementors. It really is very important in this case.
Commissioner Hamilton and Chairman Hughes, thank you for those words. But it is a collaborative team effort with Public Works. We work really hard to make sure that this project remained on course and provided the need that it was meant to be.
Well, thank you. Thank you for saying that, because that is true, and everybody that works so hard on this at the county and deserves thanks for that.
And the mayor's office and the manager's office too. We all worked really hard together. Thank you.
Mr. Hanson?
Yeah, thank you, Max. I think this project of the Glorieta Mutual Domestic Water Line is really important. I don't know where we're at exactly with the sidewalks on Lopez Lane and how much has been funded, but that is a project that I believe that the village of Agua Fria has been asking for years, and even though we have some of the work done to design it, I don't know if we have money to build it. So,
Go ahead, I'm sorry. I was just going to say, Commissioner Hanson and Chairman Hughes, that's definitely sounds like a project that could be viable, that we could vet through the capital planning process.
And I mean, we have already gotten money for it to design it, but how far that money will take us, I don't know. And we have bonded for it also. The other project is a Main Street project that constituents in Agua Fria have been working on to build a community center, even though we have one, but more of a arts and culture designated museum area that the legislature has supported, that Agua Fria possibly have something like that. So I would like to suggest that you meet with the group that is working on this Main Street grant. They have gotten a grant from Main Street to design something. Now we need to find a location in the village, and it might include working with Public Works, because in some ways we would like it located at Reunity Resource, but then that's a private organizations, but we also want to build a bridge at San Ysidro, and which is desperately needed, and a roundabout and some land might be needed from Reunity in order to do that. So there's a lot of possibilities, and I'd just like that to be on your radar.
Commissioner Hanson, thank you for those project ideas.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah, thank you for the work on this. Appreciate it. And the Glorieta water system, I'm sure that needed it. I think we are done, right? So adjournment, someone care to make a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
We don't need to vote on anything for you, do we?
Mr. Chair, if I just may make one more recommendation, and
Oh, yeah,
it feels
go
that
ahead.
it's just in light of what has happened with the PFAS issue in the La Cienega area and the La Cienega area, if there is something that would be an opportunity to address the PFAS concern for the mutual domestic, I would hope that that would rank highly as something operational that could be funded.
Commissioner Bustamante, thank you for that project idea.
Thank you.
Okay, I think we can have a motion to adjourn.
I will so move.
Second.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Green, seconded by Commissioner Hanson. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So we have to adjourn for 5 minutes to give Matt time to set up, so we will be back at 2:35.